Hello and welcome to Let's Make It Vegan. I'm Chef Fred, and today what we're going to work with is making barbacoa. Now, you may or may not be familiar with barbacoa. Basically, it is a Mexican-style stewed meat product. Traditionally, it uses everything from beef, lamb, goat, pork, whatever. So it's just basically a slow stewed meat that can be used in tacos, burritos, pretty much any style you want to do, but it's very close to what we would traditionally know as a very well done roast. And that's basically how I came about this. I did have a suggestion from Eileen from Florida, and what she wanted was a Mississippi pot roast kind of thing done in a vegan way. Looked into kind of doing something like a pot roast, and I started thinking about some other different flavors. I was thinking about doing like an Italian beef sandwich where you do like a chocolate roast done real long with Italian flavors and tomatoes and something like that, done on a sub. Then I kept working it out in my mind, and I ended up coming up with a little more on the Mexican version of a beef meat stewed sort of product. So that's basically how I came up with barbacoa. In the end, it started out as, it began as a roast, but I wanted to do a little bit more, to have some other accompaniments with it, and to give and show different options and different ways that you can go about making a stewed meat sort of thing. So that's how we came up with barbacoa. Barbacoa is traditionally known as Mexican originally. It came from the Caribbean islands, and very, very early got into Mexico, and Mexico kind of ran with it. So originally it came from the Caribbean, kind of like if you're thinking about spaghetti, you always think of that as an Italian dish, but technically the noodles came from Asia. So that's how we got barbacoa into Mexico. So enough history, let's talk about what we're gonna do. How we're going to make the stewed meat product is we are going to use jackfruit. Jackfruit can be found usually at your Asian markets. You definitely want the green jackfruit that is done just in a brine. You don't want the more mature jackfruit in syrup, and that's more of a sweet product, and you don't want that. Basically, whenever you get into the can of jackfruit, it's going to look like these wedges. And one of the reasons this works really great is, as you can see, this stuff it looks like it's already sort of shredded. This has been used traditionally doing things like pulled pork, that kind of stuff, in vegan dishes. Jackfruit is the kind of thing that we're using in that. So we're going to be using jackfruit. Also, I do have some portobello mushroom caps that I'm going to go ahead and slice and then julienne just for a little more meaty flavor in there. These are going to turn into very small shreds, whereas these I'm going to kind of do my own hand shredding of them with the knife and put them in there. So we have a couple different textures going on as far as what our vegan meat product is. In order to create the flavors in this, one of the things that I am going to use again is Marmite. So I'm using this in order to mimic more of a beef flavor. If you've never had Marmite, it is a wonderful, very meaty extract it's a yeast extract, a byproduct of the brewing of beer, and that's basically how that's come about. I have talked about Marmite in my other videos before. So we're going to get some beefy flavor from the Marmite, and as far as actually doing the sauce for in it, we are going to be creating a very traditional barbacoa kind of sauce. I'm going to be using some tomatillas, and if you're not familiar with tomatillas, It sounds like and seems like they're closely related to tomatoes. They're barely in the same family. These are more closely related to a gooseberry, but it looks like a green tomato with like a little papery husk on them. And if you're thinking, can I just use green tomatoes? No, it's not going to mimic the same flavor at all. These guys, we're just going to take a few of them, going to cut them in half, roast them in the oven to get them juicy and full of flavor. These guys you do want to use cooked as opposed to raw. So we are going to go ahead and roast these guys. As far as with the sauce, the main thing in the sauce, we are going to be using dried chilies. I've got a combination of some New Mexico chilies and Guajillo chilies. These guys we're going to end up soaking in water till they get soft and pliable. Some like hot water just in a big bowl, get them soaked in there. Once they're soft and pliable, we're going to go ahead and just take the seeds out and any kind of remaining vein sort of thing that might be in there, because they will cause some bitterness. So with these dried chilies, you do want to make sure you clean them real well after, so you don't get the bitterness. If you don't want to work with dried chilies and getting into all that, you can use a powder. They do make great Guajillo chili powders, even New Mexico chili powders that you can use in order to make things a little bit easier for you. But I'm going to try to go as authentic as I can with that. Also in the flavors, I am going to add some mole. A mole is a typical Mexican seasoning condiment sort of thing. Traditionally, it's made with a lot of the dried chilies and cocoa, as in chocolate. So it does give a little bit of that bitter chocolate tone in there too. Also, while we're working with this, I will kind of monitor how much heat comes in these dry guys. If I want to pick up the heat a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add some powdered chipotle in order to bring the heat up to where it's got a little bit of a bite to it, but you don't want to get it too hot that people really aren't going to be comfortable with it. So that's going to be the main thing with creating our sauce. And what we're going to do is this is going to be a slow cooked, long roast item. Just as related to what we were wanting to do as far as creating a slow cooked roast in order to develop all those flavors. All this stuff as far as the sauce and our meat substitutes are going to go in a slow cooker and go for several hours. That way we get all these flavors developed in there, soaked into the jackfruit, soaked into the little strips of mushroom, so that when they come out, you got a full roasted flavor to it. We're going to combine this stuff into, we can make tacos, a bowl of different things. What I'm planning to do is to kind of do some peppers and onions, similar to how you would do in like fajitas. Just a quick, not necessarily roast, but maybe in a cast iron pan, get these guys in there and get some color on them and get them roasted up real good. Also have some, what is this? It is refried beans. We've got some refried beans to go with it also. And I'm going to slice up, what are these? I'm going to slice up avocados. So we're going to have some refried beans, avocados to go along with it. Also with the sliced avocados, I'm going to go ahead and just get some tagine flavoring on them. It's real nice. It's a little bit of heat and a little bit of like limey flavor. If you've never used this, it's great on roasted corn on the cob, that kind of thing. Adds great flavors. So that's what we'll have as far as with an accompaniment. If we want to go ahead and add in, make some small tacos out of it, we can do that too. And of course we got our fresh cilantro here, which we'll be able to use that as a finishing topping to all of them. We'll probably put some cilantro in the full sauce there with it too. So I think I've covered all of the things we've got out here. And of course, there's going to be garlic in it, just like everything I do, and some lime juice. in order to flavor things up, and maybe even just serve it with some sliced lime on the side so we can finish up with some fresh lime juice. So we're going to start out, we'll get these chilies soaked so we can get them cleaned. Going to get these cut, roast these guys up, and start working on our sauce. Through the way, I will be taking pictures of the process, and when we come back, we'll show you where I'm at so that you have a better idea of what we're going to create here. Thanks, and I'll see you in a few. Okay guys, here we are. We've got all of our stuff for our barbacoa dinner ready to go. Just to give you a little outline, did show several pictures of what was going on, but I'll kind of go over a little bit as far as what we went. Our barbacoa meat substitute consisting of the mushrooms, the jackfruit, and our sauce right here. This went and stewed basically in our crock pot for about 5 hours. So it is all very cooked through, luscious. You can see it's stringy like a very well cooked beef or other kind of meat thing right there. What I did was we've got some poblano peppers and onions, just did in a very hot pan with a little bit of oil, and just got those guys sauteed, blistered up, brown, ready to go real quick. Got an avocado sliced up here. We've got some tagine seasoning on there, as well as some lime. And I've got some refried beans heated up, ready to go as an accompaniment with all this. And we've got some taco shells if you do want to go ahead and build a taco with it. But as I said before, what I want to really make a point is what we did here as far as creating our stewed meat. We can use any kind of flavors. If you want to, do something more Italian like my original idea, or something more traditional as far as a chuck roast, all those flavors will definitely work with this same technique. I just happen to go a little more on the Mexican side with a barbacoa today with this stuff. So, use this sort of technique, create your own flavors. If you aren't into Mexican and spicy and want to go a different direction, feel fine to do that. This is just some ideas of how to go about creating something that's going to be like a stewed meat product, but get you all those flavors, all those long roasted flavors that come with something like this. So let's go ahead and show you a little bit of how I'm going to get this plated up. We'll get our barbacoa meat. I think we'll just go ahead and place a pile of that right in the middle, and you see how chunky and meaty this stuff is. We'll get some of that in there, and we've got our sauteed onions and peppers that we'll go ahead and place through here. Got some of those guys. Got some refried beans. We'll go ahead and get some of those in here to get mixed in, and these are all just additional flavors that are going to make everything just like really yummy. We've got our avocado, and we'll try to pull this off here and down and in there, and didn't do very very well at that. It kind of flipped over, but as you can see, we've got our avocado in here. We'll get some of our tagine flavoring on there. We've got some lime juice. We'll go ahead and get a squirt on that guy for us. And we'll top it off with some chopped cilantro. Get a bit of freshness. And there you go, guys. We've got a wonderful stewed meat dinner ready to go. Yes, the stewing does take a while, but this is something you can put on in the morning, go to work, come back, it's ready to go. All the other things in here just took literally a couple minutes to get ready. I thank you for joining me today, and as always, like, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the bell to be notified when another video comes on, and please let me know the kind of things that you're looking for. And I want to thank Eileen for suggesting a stewed meat kind of product that I kind of changed up what she suggested to make it a little more conducive to my flavors. Sorry about that, but I hope this gives you some ideas. This can be used, like I said, in any way that you're looking for to combine flavors and get that long roasted meat flavor. Once again, thanks, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you back in a couple days. Thanks.